Iteration is a word that is used in computing to mean when you have a loop or when you repeat something a number of times. So you can use the repeat command when you know how many times that you want to repeat a set of instructions. Within that repeat block, you could call different procedures as long as you want to call the same procedures a certain number of times. Now, there are other ways of doing iteration where you don't know how many times you want it to repeat. Sometimes you can use a variable within a repeat command where you set the variable and so somewhere else, and so the variable can be a number that is different at different times that you run this loop. So then using the variable you can repeat a set of instructions a different number of times each time you run it. Or you could use another kind of repeat where you test a condition at the beginning of the repeat. So you could use an if statement to see that if certain conditions are correct. For example, if the user says do this, then it will repeat until the user says something else. Or you could test that the color, for example, in BYOB, you can test if a color is touching another color. If it is, then you could say do a certain number of things. If it's not touching, say the red is not touching the blue, then don't do that. And if it is, then you can make it repeat a number of times or repeat continually. You can use the forever loop to make something repeat continuously until the user stops it by pressing the red circle in Scratch or BYOB, for example. Or in other programming languages, the user presses the escape bar or something else, or Control Alt and Delete together. Or you could make it repeat something continuously until at the end of each repeat it tests the condition to see if, for example, a variable that you used to set the counter, if that counter is equal to something else. So in different programming languages they use commands like while. So while the status equals yes, keep doing that. When the status changes to no, you don't do it. Or you can use repeat until, or there's a for loop where you set it to a certain number, so you keep doing this thing. So for, you could say for, and you use a variable, say for example counter equals 1 to 10, and every time you do the repeat, counter goes up by 1. So once it gets to 10, it will stop doing it. So there's different ways of repeating a set of instructions, and this is called iteration in computing.